Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha contains a very, very painful story. It's a well-known story. It's a story of the sons of Aharon, of Aaron. Aaron, of course, is the Kohen. He's also the brother of Moses. And he and his sons are responsible for the pulchan, for the ritual, for the conducting of the ritual sacrifices in the ancient temple, in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, the wandering in the desert. And later on, of course, the Kohanim continued to serve in the temple for hundreds and hundreds of years until the second temple was destroyed. Aaron's sons, two of them, Nadav and Avihu, they're not his only sons, but these particular sons were told that they did the following. Nadav and Avihu each took a fire pan, put fire in it, laid incense on it, and they offered before the Lord an alien fire which God had not enjoined upon them. A fire came forth from the Lord, consumed them, and thus they died. So what we have here is a very strange story. They did something wrong, and they must have done it with intent as well. Perhaps they did it in a lackadaisical form. They approached the altar. Perhaps they decided on their own to change how the worship would take place. We know they did something wrong, and we're told they died. How they died, we don't know. Here comes the response. Moses said to Aaron, now Moses is the uncle, Aaron's the father. This is what the Lord meant when he said, through those near to me, I shall show myself holy. In other words, he's explaining to Aaron why his sons are dead. What happens? How does Aaron respond? Vayidom Aharon. And Aaron is silent. He doesn't respond to Moses. He doesn't protest to God. He's lost his two sons. He's silent. Then the story goes on, showing Moses doesn't answer Aaron. Moses turns his attention to taking care of the bodies of Nadav and Avihu, to have them buried. Moses realizes that what he did was wrong. Aaron has just lost his sons, and he's trying to explain why. They're not even buried yet. He's trying to justify it in front of Aaron, the father. We learn a very important lesson here. Moses learned a lesson. When people suffer a loss, what you can't do is try and explain it or justify it. He lost his sons. Rightly so, not rightly so. They were at fault, they weren't at fault. It doesn't change anything. Aaron's world is crushed. His two sons are gone. His response is to be silent, not to judge it, simply to mourn the loss of his sons, not to protest to God, not to argue, not to try and understand it, but simply to go through the mourning process. Moses, who's trying to have a conversation with Aaron to explain why this has happened, suddenly realized this is not right. I simply have to help my brother go through the mourning. He's lost his children. The lesson is very important in terms of psychology of mourning. When someone suffers a loss, we can't explain it. If it's a disease, disease is amoral. Disease is not something that God sends as a punishment. It's an accident creation. It's a tragedy. If someone dies because they've done something wrong, they made a mistake, they were speeding, maybe they drank a little bit too, and they caused their own death. That's a tragedy. We could talk about it weeks later, months later. We can learn something from it. But you can't turn to the family and explain it to them in that way, because it doesn't change the pain of the loss. So we learn from this lesson of Aaron and Moses how we respond when we have losses. The response is not to ask why, not to ask why me, not to justify, not to go into the medical reasons for it, but to turn to the person who suffered the loss, the family, and to hug them, and to help them, and to comfort them, and to be with them. The silence of Aaron is the silence of, I have no explanation. I am simply crushed. And we have to empathize with that and help them. And the laws of mourning, and the laws and the customs that guide us as a Jewish community in what to do in a shiva house, what to do when somebody has suffered a loss, come from this powerful story in which Moses himself is the student and Aaron is the teacher. And Aaron teaches us an incredible lesson through his wisdom when he suffers the tragic loss of his two sons, Nadav and Avihu. The wisdom of Aaron has helped so many people throughout the ages deal with a loss, has helped us as a community learn how to comfort a mourner and to help them through that difficult moment in their life. What an incredible lesson Aaron taught us thousands of years ago. Shabbat Shalom.